I'm Anna, and I thought I'd share my story here where I can find support and advice from you amazing folks. So let's dive into the details of how my whirlwind romance with Mark began. After years of searching for my soulmate, I met Mark in college. He had a disarming smile and a genuine kindness that drew me to him. We quickly became inseparable, spending countless hours together, talking about our dreams and exploring the world hand in hand. As our love blossomed, so did our plans for the future. After graduation, we decided to take the plunge and get married. Our families were overjoyed, and we felt like the luckiest couple in the world. Together, we started our journey as husband and wife. Mark's parents, Robert and Martha, were supportive and welcoming. They had a beautiful house, and they graciously offered us a place to live with them. It was an exciting new chapter in our lives, and we embraced it with open hearts. But like all stories, ours had its share of challenges. Living with Mark's parents brought a unique dynamic into our lives. While Robert was kind-hearted and understanding, Martha had a strong personality and high expectations. We navigated through the initial adjustments, hoping for a harmonious family life. One sunny morning, I was on my way to work, humming along to my favorite tunes, when my phone rang, interrupting the melody. It was Martha, Mark's mother. I answered, thinking it would be a casual conversation, or perhaps a reminder to pick up groceries. "Anna, how can you be so irresponsible?" Martha's voice came through the phone, her tone laced with annoyance. Confused, I asked, "What do you mean, Martha?" "I came downstairs and the house was a mess. You didn't clean up before leaving for work." Martha's scolding intensified, catching me off guard. "I'm sorry, Martha," I stammered, feeling a mix of surprise and frustration. I didn't know that was expected of me. "I can clean when I get back." "You should have known. You're part of this household now. You need to pull your weight," Martha retorted sharply. Frustration bubbled within me, and I felt a knot forming in my stomach. "Martha, I work full-time too. It's not fair to expect me to handle all the housework alone." The conversation escalated into a heated argument, with words flying back and forth. My focus shifted from the road to the intense exchange on the phone. In that moment of distraction, I lost control of the car. The screeching tires, the deafening crash, and the blinding pain were the last things I remembered before everything went dark. Awakening in a sterile hospital room, I felt a disorienting haze clouding my senses. The steady beeping of machines echoed in the background, reminding me of the severity of my situation. As I tried to make sense of my surroundings, the door swung open, and a somber-faced doctor entered, his eyes filled with compassion. "Anna, I'm Dr. Reynolds. You were involved in a severe car accident, and I'm afraid the impact has caused significant damage to your spine," he explained gently, his voice laced with empathy. My heart raced, and a flicker of hope still clung to my chest. "Will I be okay? Will I walk again?" Dr. Reynolds sighed softly, his gaze meeting mine. "I'm sorry to tell you this, but the injury you sustained has resulted in a spinal cord injury. The damage is irreversible, and you won't regain the ability to walk." A deafening silence descended upon the room as his words sank in. Tears welled up in my eyes, blurring my vision. It was as if the ground had crumbled beneath me, leaving me suspended in a void of despair. A surge of emotions crashed over me, and the first instinct I had was to reach out to Mark, my husband, seeking solace and support in this devastating moment. With trembling hands, I fumbled for my phone and dialed his number. "Mark, it's me, Anna," I managed to utter, my voice quivering with a mix of anguish and hope. "Something terrible has happened. I had an accident, and the doctors say I won't be able to walk again." A brief silence hung in the air, pregnant with anticipation, before Mark finally responded. His voice, once filled with love and tenderness, now sounded distant and detached. I'm really busy right now, Anna. I have a lot on my plate. Can't you handle it yourself?" Stunned, my heart shattered into a million pieces. The person I thought would be my rock, my pillar of strength, had callously dismissed my anguish. I felt an overwhelming sense of abandonment, left to face the daunting journey ahead on my own. Through tear-filled eyes, I realized that I needed to summon every ounce of resilience within me. Gathering my shattered spirit, I hung up the phone, a mix of sorrow and determination coursing through my veins. I knew I had to find the strength to face this new reality head-on. As the days wore on, my hospital stay became a blur of medical procedures, therapy sessions, and the comforting presence of compassionate nurses. However, the absence of my husband and his family weighed heavily on my heart. Their indifference and lack of support compounded the pain I was already enduring. With each passing day, I grew more resolute in my desire to reclaim my independence and build a life for myself despite the challenges I faced. It was a journey of self-discovery, learning to navigate the world from a wheelchair and finding the courage to adapt to my new circumstances. In the midst of despair, a glimmer of hope emerged when I received a call from Robert, my father-in-law. His voice held a touch of warmth and concern, a stark contrast to the coldness I had experienced. "Anna, I heard what happened and I'm truly sorry. I want you to know that I'm here for you. We'll get through this together," Robert reassured me, his words resonating deep within my wounded soul. His unwavering support became a lifeline, providing the strength I needed to face the battles ahead. It was a reminder that not everyone had turned their backs on me and that there was still love and compassion to be found in the world. As I was discharged from the hospital, my heart fluttered with mixed emotions. I longed for the familiarity of our house, hoping that the warmth and love I had once felt there would welcome me back. Little did I know that the reality awaiting me would be far from comforting. As I rolled through the front door in my wheelchair, a heavy silence enveloped the house. The once vibrant atmosphere had turned cold and indifferent. I yearned for a warm embrace, a kind word, or even a simple acknowledgement of my presence, but it seemed as if I had become invisible. Confined to my wheelchair, I faced significant challenges in carrying out household tasks. The simple act of cooking a meal or tidying up seemed insurmountable without assistance. However, instead of understanding and support, all I received were harsh words and constant berating. "If you can't work, leave." Martha, my mother-in-law, would snap, her voice laced with contempt. And Mark, my own husband, echoed her sentiments, treating me as if I were a burden rather than his partner in life. The weight of their words and the sting of their indifference crushed my spirit. I felt helpless and useless, stripped of my independence and left to endure the emotional onslaught alone. Their callous disregard for my struggle cut deeper than any physical pain I experienced. Days turned into weeks, and the cycle of neglect and verbal abuse persisted. I yearned for respite, for someone to extend a helping hand or show a glimmer of compassion, but instead I faced a constant barrage of criticism and harsh judgments. Amidst the hostility, a beacon of light emerged in the form of Robert, my father-in-law. He couldn't bear to see me suffer and became my unwavering source of support. He would sit by my side, listening to my frustrations and offering a comforting presence when the weight of it all became too much to bear. One evening, tensions reached their breaking point. Martha, fueled by anger and spite, threw me out of my wheelchair, degrading me with hurtful words. It was a moment that pushed the limits of my endurance, but it was also the catalyst for change. Mark, my own husband, echoed his mother's sentiments, his once loving demeanor replaced with cold indifference. "If you can't work around the house, maybe you should consider leaving," he would say callously, as if my worth hinged solely on my ability to perform chores. Their harshness pierced my heart like 1,000 daggers. I longed for empathy, for a shred of compassion, but instead I received nothing but hostility. It seemed as though the accident had altered their perception of me, transforming their once loving demeanor into a cruel and unforgiving one. Day after day, the relentless barrage of insults and criticism wore me down. I became a shell of my former self, isolated and trapped in a toxic environment. The house that was meant to be a sanctuary had transformed into a prison of emotional torment. Amidst the chaos, there was one ray of light that refused to be extinguished. Robert, my father-in-law. He couldn't bear to see me suffer and became my steadfast ally, offering solace and support in the face of overwhelming adversity. One evening, the tension reached its breaking point. Martha's anger and disdain reached new heights, and in a fit of rage, she threw me out of my wheelchair. I crumpled to the ground, the pain radiating through my body, both physical and emotional. Robert, witnessing the scene, could no longer remain a silent bystander. He stepped forward, his voice filled with righteous anger. "Enough is enough. You both have treated Anna with nothing but cruelty and disrespect. I won't tolerate it any longer." Martha and Mark, stunned by his assertion, pleaded for forgiveness, desperate to salvage their positions in the house. But Robert stood firm, his resolve unyielding. "No more. You will leave this house and cease tormenting Anna. She deserves better." Their attempts to sway Robert's decision were futile, and as they reluctantly departed, the weight of their absence was overshadowed by the relief that washed over me. I was finally free from their relentless abuse. After the departure of Martha and Mark, the house stood in an eerie silence, free from the toxic presence that had plagued it for so long. I breathed a sigh of relief, grateful for the newfound peace. But amidst the tranquility, I couldn't shake the deep wounds that had been inflicted upon my spirit. In the midst of my turmoil, Robert emerged as a beacon of light, offering me the support and love that I so desperately needed. He would sit with me, lending an empathetic ear to my grievances and providing a comforting presence when the weight of it all threatened to overwhelm me. One evening, as we sat together in the living room, I expressed my gratitude for his unwavering support. Tears welled up in my eyes as I spoke, my voice trembling with raw emotion. "Robert, I can't thank you enough for being here for me. Your kindness and understanding have meant the world to me in these trying times." Robert reached out and gently placed his hand on mine, a tender smile on his face. "Anna, you are family to me. It pains me to see the hardships you've endured, but please know that you will never face them alone. I am here for you through thick and thin." His words resonated deep within my wounded soul, giving me the strength to believe in myself once again. In his presence, I found solace and the courage to continue my journey towards healing. Robert's support extended beyond emotional comfort. He recognized the challenges I faced as a person with limited mobility and took it upon himself to make necessary modifications to the house, ensuring accessibility and ease of movement. It was a tangible demonstration of his commitment to my well-being and his belief in my resilience. With his assistance, I gradually adapted to my new reality. He encouraged me to explore resources for people with disabilities, connecting me with support groups and organizations that provided guidance and assistance. Through these connections, I discovered a community of individuals who had faced similar struggles and triumphed over adversity. Robert's unwavering support instilled in me a renewed sense of hope and the confidence to pursue my passions. Together, we explored adaptive sports and recreational activities, uncovering a world of possibilities that I had once believed to be out of reach. As the days turned into weeks, I began to regain a sense of independence and found joy in pursuing activities that brought me fulfillment. Robert stood by my side, celebrating each milestone and encouraging me to embrace life with renewed vigor. Our bond deepened during this time, transcending the boundaries of a traditional father-in-law and daughter-in-law relationship. Robert became the father figure I had always longed for, offering guidance and unconditional love when I needed it the most. In our conversations, Robert often emphasized the importance of self-advocacy and reclaiming my voice. He encouraged me to assert my rights, reminding me that I deserved respect, love, and a life free from abuse. His support ignited a fire within me, a determination to not only overcome my physical limitations, but also to create a better future for myself. I realized that I was not defined by my disability, but rather by the strength and resilience that I had discovered within. With Robert's unwavering support, we embarked on a path to seek legal recourse for the domestic violence I'd experienced. It was a daunting undertaking, but I knew that standing up against the injustice was essential for my healing and the prevention of further harm. Together, we gathered evidence, meticulously documenting the instances of abuse and the toll it had taken on my physical and emotional well-being. With the help of a compassionate lawyer, we prepared a strong case to present in court. As the trial date approached, anxiety gnawed at my nerves, but a newfound resilience propelled me forward. The day arrived, and we entered the courtroom, determined to shed light on the truth and advocate for justice. The courtroom buzzed with anticipation as the proceedings commenced. My lawyer presented the evidence, painting a vivid picture of the abuse I had endured. The weight of their words hung heavy in the air, casting a spotlight on the dark corners of my past. During the trial, the judge listened attentively, his eyes conveying empathy and understanding. The defense attempted to downplay the severity of the abuse, but the evidence and testimony were irrefutable, speaking volumes about the true nature of the situation. Finally, it was time for me to take the stand. Clutching onto the armrests of my wheelchair, I gathered my strength, determined to reclaim my voice and assert my right to a life free from abuse. With each word that left my lips, I felt a sense of liberation, as if the weight of their actions was being lifted from my shoulders. As the trial drew to a close, the judge deliberated, carefully considering the evidence and the impact of the abuse on my life. In a moment that felt like an eternity, he rendered the verdict, a judgment that would mark the turning point in my quest for justice. The court finds the defendants guilty of domestic violence, inflicted upon the plaintiff, Anna, the judge proclaimed. In light of the severity of the abuse and its lasting impact, I order the defendants to pay a significant amount of compensation. Relief washed over me, intermingled with a sense of satisfaction. It wasn't merely about the monetary compensation. It was about the validation of my pain, the acknowledgement that what I had endured was wrong, and the realization that my voice had been heard. As the news of the court's decision spread, Martha and Mark were forced to confront the consequences of their actions. The weight of their wrongdoing settled upon them, and they were compelled to face the reality of their abuse. In the aftermath, I embraced a newfound freedom, a freedom from the clutches of their cruelty and a freedom to rebuild my life on my terms. The compensation served as a symbolic victory, a reminder that no one should endure the pain and suffering I had faced. With the legal battle behind me, I focused on my own healing and personal growth. The support of Robert, my unwavering ally, continued to be a pillar of strength as I worked towards reclaiming my independence and finding my place in the world. Together, we embarked on a journey of healing and self-discovery, exploring opportunities and resources that would empower me to live a fulfilling life despite my physical limitations. I found solace in connecting with support groups and individuals who had overcome similar challenges, building a network of resilience and compassion. As the days turned into months, I embraced the power of my story. I became an advocate for survivors of domestic violence, using my voice to raise awareness and break the cycle of abuse. Through sharing my experiences, I hoped to inspire others to find their strength, seek justice, and reclaim their lives.